All right, ready to dive deep into something we all deal with. I mean, seriously, who hasn't struggled to find pants that fit just right?
You know me, always up for a challenge, especially when it comes to clothes and fit,
Today is all about those tricky pants. And get this, our source is a YouTube video from a German channel called Werde Designer.
which translates to become a designer.
Exactly. Now, even if you don't speak German, don't worry, we've got you covered. The video is packed with insights on fitting different body types, and we're going to break it all down for you.
I gotta admit, when I first saw this video, I was blown away by how much detail they go into.
Me too. It's like they're giving us the secret sauce of tailoring. Like right off
Yeah.
the bat, they start talking about these very specific parts of a pant pattern, things like the cat's whisker and the comfort point.
Yeah, those terms sound a little whimsical, like something out of a fairy tale.
Totally. But they're actually really important for understanding how pants are designed to fit different bodies.
Like, for example, the cat's whisker, or Hosenausschnitt in German, is basically the foundation of a well-fitting pair of pants.
It's that curved part of the pattern that forms the crotch seam, right?
Right, and the video makes it clear that the shape of this seam is crucial for how comfortable and flattering the pants are going to be.
Makes sense, it's where all the movement happens. But why is the shape of the cat's whiskers so important?
Well, it basically determines how smoothly the fabric flows between your legs
Yeah.
and how much room you have to move. If it's too shallow, you'll get that uncomfortable pulling and tightness.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
But then if it's too deep, you end up with all this extra fabric and the pants look baggy and shapeless.
It's all about striking that perfect balance. So what about the comfort point? What even is that?
Think of it as the spot where the waistband naturally sits on your body. It's where the pants feel just right, neither too high nor too low.
Like the sweet spot on your waistline.
Exactly. And the video emphasizes that everyone's comfort point is different. It's not just a one-size-fits-all measurement.
It's about what feels good for you, personally. And speaking of feeling good, the video goes deep, pun intended, into the importance of, well, the buttocks.
Yeah, they highlight different shapes, flat, strong, and high, which honestly, I'd never really thought about my own behind in those terms before.
Same here. Like, who knew there were so many variations? But what I found fascinating is how the video explains the why behind the adjustments for each buttock shape.
It makes so much sense when you think about it. Like, if you have a more prominent curve in the back, you need extra fabric to avoid that tightness across the seat.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely experienced that. Like, you try to squeeze into pants that just aren't cut for your curves, and it's just uncomfortable.
Exactly. And what the video explains is that for a strong buttocks, you actually need to add extra length to the back pattern piece.
So you're essentially giving the fabric more room to drape over those curves without straining.
Exactly. It's like giving your curves the space they need to shine,
Mm.
and it creates a much smoother, more flattering fit.
Wow, I never realized how much the shape of your behind could affect the fit of pants. This is mind-blowing. What about the other buttock shapes? How do those adjustments work?
It's all about creating balance and proportion. So for a flatter buttock, you might need to remove some fabric from the back to avoid that saggy look.
So you're basically streamlining the fit for less curve.
Exactly. And for a high buttock, where the curve sits higher on the body, you might need to adjust the angle of the darts or even add length to the back rise.
So it's not just about taking your waist and hip measurements. You have to really consider the shape and, well, the projection of the...
The derriere. It's all about understanding how those curves influence the way fabric drapes on the body.
Which brings up another point that I found super interesting. The video isn't just about blindly following measurements. They really emphasize the importance of observation, like really looking at how a well-fitting pair of pants drapes on the body and using that as a guide.
What's fascinating is how that connects to the idea of balance in garment construction. It's not just about getting the numbers right, it's about achieving visual harmony.
Right. The video highlights how, for instance, the back rise length is directly influenced by the shape of your, well, you know.
Get it? The derriere. But seriously, that attention to detail and emphasis on observation is what separates a good fit from a truly great fit.
I totally agree. And that's where the video takes a turn that I think you'll find really exciting. They start talking about DIY pattern hacking, like modifying existing patterns to customize the fit even further.
Yeah. It's like they're not just telling us about the basics, they're giving us the tools to actually take control of our own pant fits.
This is where I got really pumped up. What kind of modifications are we talking about here?
So for example, if you have a rounder bottom, the video shows you how to deepen that cat's whisker to accommodate those curves. Or if you have specific leg shapes, you can adjust the angle of the darts to flatter your unique contours.
This is amazing. It's like they're empowering us to become our own fit experts.
Exactly. And they explain the why behind these adjustments, so you can confidently make changes for a better fit, even if you're not a professional seamstress.
Which is so important because, let's be real, how many times have you bought a pair of pants that fit in most places, but then needed just a little tweaking in one specific area?
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
But with this knowledge, you could potentially make those alterations yourself and finally achieve that elusive, perfect fit.
Or at least you'll know exactly what to ask for when you go to a tailor. Okay, I am officially hooked on this video. It's a total goldmine of information. And to think, we've only scratched the surface. What else is in store for us in this deep dive?
Well, beyond all the technical details, the video also dives into the concept of figure types and how they impact pant fitting. We'll unpack that in the next segment.
Sounds intriguing. I can't wait. This is like a crash course in fashion design, but in the best way possible.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I think what's so valuable about it is that it helps us understand the principles behind how clothes are constructed. And then we can use that knowledge to make more informed decisions about what we wear.
Okay, listeners, get ready. We're about to go even deeper into the fascinating world of pant construction.
So we've been geeking out about the cat's whisker and that comfort point, all those little details that make pants fit well. But the Wear a Designer video takes it a step further and talks about these things called figure types. And, at first I was kind of like, figure types, isn't that a little outdated?
Yeah, I thought figure types were like a relic of the past. Like who needs to be labeled a pear or an hourglass ring?
Right. But the video uses these categories not to put you in a box, but more as like a starting point to show how different body proportions can affect the way pants fit.
Okay, so it's more about understanding the principles behind those categories and then applying them to your own unique shape.
Exactly. And one of the things the video focuses on is pelvic tilt, like whether your pelvis tilts forward or backward. I never realized how much that could impact pant fit.
Wait, what? Pelvic tilt. Tell me more. That's a whole new concept for me.
Yeah. Think about how your hips naturally sit. Some people have a slight forward tilt, while others have more of a backward tilt. And this can totally affect how the front and back of your pants fit.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going. So, like, if you have a forward pelvic tilt, would that affect the length of the front of the pants?
You got it. You might need to add a little length to the front crotch curve to avoid those annoying wrinkles or that feeling of tightness, just to make sure there's enough fabric to accommodate your natural posture.
And then I guess someone with a backward pelvic tilt might need more length in the back.
Exactly. That way you don't get that feeling of the waistband pulling down in the back. It's crazy how those seemingly small adjustments can make a huge difference in how comfortable and flattering your pants are.
Seriously, it's like a light bulb went off when you explain that. It makes so much sense now why some pants feel amazing and others just never seem to sit right.
It all comes down to understanding those little variations in our bodies. And what I love about this video is that it really empowers you to consider those variations when you're shopping for pants, or even when you're thinking about altering them.
Yeah, it's like having a secret weapon in the fight against bad-fitting pants. So we've talked about the cat's whisker, the comfort point, how important the shape of your behind is, and even this pelvic tilt thing. What else did the video cover? I feel like there was something about high hip measurements.
You're totally right. They totally emphasize the high hip measurement, which is something a lot of people forget about. It's taken at the widest point of your hips, which isn't always the same as your hip measurement at the hip bone.
Wait, there's more than one hip measurement? This is blowing my mind.
Yeah. And it can make a big difference in how well your pants fit. For example, if you have a fuller high hip, you might need to adjust the width of the pattern at that point so the fabric doesn't pull or feel too tight.
Oh, I totally get that. I've definitely had pants that felt way too snug around the top of my hips, even if the waist and lower hip fit fine.
Exactly. It's about creating enough ease and space for your curves, without making the pants look too baggy overall.
Striking that balance between fit and style.
Mhm.
So there are all these different measurements to consider. And then what was that thing about flat seat versus curved seat adjustments?
Oh, yeah, that's where things get a bit technical, but it's worth knowing about because it can make a huge difference in how the pants fit in the back.
Yeah.
Basically, a flat seat adjustment is for someone who's, their backside's a little flatter, and it involves removing some fabric from the back crotch curve to reduce any bagginess.
Okay, so if you don't have as much curve back there, you don't need as much fabric.
Right. Now, on the flip side, a curved seat adjustment is for someone with, a more prominent.
Let's just say a booty.
Exactly. And that adjustment involves adding fabric to the back crotch curve to give those curves more space and prevent the pants from feeling too tight.
It's all about making the pants fit your body perfectly. It's kind of amazing how much thought goes into making a well-fitting pair of pants.
It really is an art form, you know. It's not just about sewing fabric together. It's about understanding how bodies work and how to shape the fabric to create something that looks and feels amazing.
And the video really emphasizes that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. They encourage you to try things out, see what works, and make adjustments based on your own body and what you like.
I love that they encourage experimentation. They even suggest making a muslin, which is basically like a test garment, to check the fit before you cut into your final fabric.
Genius. It's like a dress rehearsal for your pants.
Exactly. You can work out all the kinks before you commit to the real thing.
And get this, they even suggest trying on the muslin with the type of underwear you plan to wear with the finished pants.
You know, different underwear can change how pants fit, so it's a really smart idea.
Seriously, it's all in the details. So you avoid those weird lumps and bumps from bulky seams?
Right. It's about being aware of all those little things that can affect the fit.
You know, speaking of fit issues, one of the things I've always struggled with is those annoying wrinkles that appear below the buttocks. You know, the ones they make you feel like you're wearing a diaper?
Ah, yes. The dreaded diaper butt. But don't worry, the video has a fix for that too. A wedge adjustment. You basically add a wedge-shaped piece of fabric to the back crotch curve to create more space and smooth out those wrinkles.
Like magic. A little wedge of fabric can totally transform your pants.
It's amazing how these little adjustments can make such a big difference.
And they didn't just talk about fixing problems, they also got into adding stylish details, like pleats. I love the look of pleated pants, but I never really understood how they were constructed.
Right. They add such a cool, sophisticated vibe. And the video actually breaks down how to add them to a pattern.
Now I feel like I could actually try making pleated pants myself. And it wasn't just pleats either. They also talked about waistband adjustment.
Oh yeah, they covered a lot of ground with waistbands. Like how to adjust the width, add belt loops, and even create a contoured waistband for a more flattering and comfortable fit. It's like they're giving us a masterclass in pant construction.
This video is a goldmine of information. It's amazing how much we've learned from just this one YouTube channel.
I know. And I think what's so great is that it shows us how much knowledge is out there just waiting to be discovered. But before we get too lost in the technical stuff, I think it's important to step back and consider what all of this means for us. Like, how can we use these insights in our own lives?
Yeah, let's bring it back to the main point. What are the takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that we don't have to be stuck with ill-fitting clothes. With this knowledge, we can actually be more confident and intentional about how we shop and how we approach tailoring.
It's like we've been given a secret decoder ring for the fashion industry.
Exactly. Now we can understand why some pants fit better than others and what adjustments we might need for that perfect fit.
So it's about understanding how pants are made, embracing our own unique bodies, and not being afraid to experiment and make adjustments to get the look and feel we want.
Yes. And don't forget about comfort. The video really emphasized how important it is to feel good in your clothes. It's not just about how they look, it's about how they make you feel.
Totally. And remember, they even said that our idea of what's comfortable can change over time. So it's about listening to our bodies and adjusting our clothes as we go.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot where style and comfort come together.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. So if you had to pick one key takeaway for our listeners, what would it be?
I'd say don't be afraid to experiment with your clothes. Try different things, different styles, different fabrics. See how they feel and what you can do to make them even better. It's a fun journey.
I love that. This whole deep dive has totally inspired me to try some new things and maybe even get back into sewing. Who knows? Maybe some of our listeners are feeling inspired to create their own perfect fitting pants.
The possibilities are endless.
Well, I don't know about you, but I am feeling super motivated to go out there and find the perfect pants or maybe even make my own.
Me too. I hope our listeners are feeling inspired as well.
All right, everyone, stay tuned for the final act of our deep dive, or we'll wrap up all this amazing info and leave you with some final thoughts to ponder. All right, so we've really dug deep into all those techniques from that weirdy designer video, you know, the cat's whisker, all those different buttock adjustments, pelvic tilts. But now let's bring it back down to earth. Like, how can we actually use this stuff in our own closets?
Well, I'll tell you, this whole deep dive has changed the way I shop for clothes, that's for sure. I'm not just grabbing whatever's in my size anymore. I'm really looking at how the pants are made, thinking about whether the style will work with my shape.
Right. It's like we've been given the secret code to crack the fashion system. But it's not just about shopping differently, is it? I'm also feeling way more confident about, like, actually doing something if the pants I buy aren't quite perfect.
Yeah, whether it's going to a tailor or even trying some basic alterations at home, knowing this stuff takes away so much of the fear.
Totally. And what I really loved is how the video stressed that there's no one right body type when it comes to pants.
So true. It's all about finding what works for you and feeling great in your own skin. And speaking of feeling good, comfort was a big theme in the video, right? It wasn't just about looking good, but actually feeling good in what you're wearing.
Yeah, and there was that point they made that really stuck with me, how our idea of what's comfortable can actually change over time. Like, what felt good a few years ago might not be the same now, and that's totally fine.
Makes sense, right? Our bodies change, our lifestyles change, and our preferences change. It's all about paying attention to how we feel and adjusting accordingly.
So, if we had to sum up all these amazing insights into one big takeaway, what would you say it is?
Oh, that's easy. Don't be afraid to experiment. Play around with different styles, different fabrics, see what you like, see what feels good on your body, and what little tweaks you can make to make things even better. It's all about the journey.
I love that. I mean, this whole deep dive has me wanting to try new things, maybe even break out my sewing machine again.
Exactly. And the best part is that all this knowledge applies whether you're a total beginner or you've been sewing for years. It really empowers you to take charge of your clothes and express yourself through your style.
And that's what it's all about. Now, before we wrap things up, there's one last thought I want to touch on. The video was focused specifically on women's pants, but so much of what we learn applies to everyone.
Really, no matter who you are, understanding the basics of how clothes are made can completely change how you think about what you wear and how you feel when you're wearing it.
So, to all our listeners out there, go out and conquer the world of fashion, be adventurous, have fun, and never stop learning.
And remember, you deserve to wear clothes that make you feel amazing, both inside and out.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of pants. Until next time, happy fitting